I'm excited for one more Incubator release, and the best is certainly going to be here at the end. Each episode's value filled, but each member of this program I'm in is a completely ambitious and different person. They're all grinding in new ways. So this week on that Entrepreneur Show, I'm welcoming Greg. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
I'm excited to now talk about some sales things. Everyone out there, even if you didn't want to be in sales, I'm sure you, like myself, learned everything is sales. His business is centered around that. But Greg, for everyone who doesn't know you, give a little preview to who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Greg Carbo. I'm one of the co-founders of Combat Sales. We are a sales training service and a software where we develop sales training for door-to-door solar companies, and then we host it on our custom software. So,
now, what got you into this space?
Yeah, so long story short is, I got into the door-to-door industry to pay for grad school. But as I started making more money knocking doors, my brother approached me and said, hey, I have this idea for a business. And that idea isn't what we're doing today, because as you progress knocking doors and everything, we saw a huge need for streamlined sales processes in the door-to-door industry. And so we were able to create a platform and a product specifically catered towards the need that we were facing as sales managers. So we kind of coined it as we're a sales company built by sales managers for sales managers.
I love that, and filling a need is very important, and we can all have these great ideas, but if no one wants it, if there's not a need for it, they're just ideas. You mentioned the door-to-door, knocking on these doors. There's a lot of lessons to be done from that, and a lot of people won't do that, including myself, or a lot of times where that fear, the itty-bitty committee in my head of what's going to happen on the other side of that. What are some lessons you've learned from having these, I guess at the time, scary moments knocking on someone's door for the first time? What are some of your takeaways from that experience?
Oh, wow. We always like to say that, I think the door-to-door industry is unique in the sense that I've actually seen grown men break down in tears because it's so hard, right? And so we always try to challenge our newer people, because as a sales manager, you're bringing in brand new people, never sold, and you're essentially jumping into the lion's den here. It's a hard sales process. So a couple lessons that we learned, and that I've had to evolve as I've progressed more into this B2B setting, is just knock more doors. And really, just because someone is saying no to you at this time doesn't mean that you can't just go and brush it off and continue and continue and continue and continue. And it's one of those practices that you can talk about a lot, of like, oh, just keep your head up, keep knocking, keep going. Right. But you actually have to do it in practice to really innate that to where it's like, nothing can faze me now.
And that's such great advice for everyone out here, where you have to just pretend it never happened. You get those lessons learned, but if you let it beat you down, you're letting the situation win. You're letting that no win. And in entrepreneurship, there are a lot more no's than yes, especially in the beginning. But I'd like to, now that you've touched on the background of everything, talk more about your current business, your current role. I see you grinding in here every day.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about it.
Awesome. So what we do, like I said, we develop sales training for companies. So our overall goal, our long-term goal, is to act as a fractional CLO, so like a chief learning officer, right? So what we found is that companies, they really struggle with building out sales training, mainly for the fact that a lot of the time it's boring, right? And people don't want to do the training. It's click, 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 move on to the next. And so what we found and what we've developed with our curriculum development as well as our software is that we really did a gamified learning approach, right? So you get points for actually doing flashcards, quizzes, all the stuff that's you get points as you progress. But two, most importantly, is that everybody learns differently. So you might be someone who you have to read something 10 times and then you get it, or someone has to do something where they watch videos. Mm-hmm. So what we've actually incorporated on the platform is that you actually have all the different types of learning styles. So readable material, videos, quizzes, flashcards. But what makes us most unique is that you're not able to move from one lesson to the next without submitting a video of yourself teaching the material back to us in some form or fashion. And so what we found is that we were able to streamline the learning process and make it so that people actually had to learn the material before they just moved on.
And I think that's important. And like I use this example with books. There's millions of books. You could read a million books, but if you don't actually do anything from those books, which is wasted time. And I think
Yeah.
that's great. Where did you get the idea to have this like reward system going along throughout the program? I think that's brilliant.
You just look at honestly, we just had a moment where we looked at the most successful learning platform like Duolingo. Like we love Duolingo.
Yeah.
My dad's from Puerto Rico. I didn't grow up learning Spanish, but my brother and I, we both are avid users of it. And so we kind of sat back and we're like, if this is how our generation is learning via points and, Call of Duty or all that stuff, who's our target market? It's young salespeople. How can we reach that market and build something and make training fun?
And I think you're onto something really big. As everyone, if you're watching this podcast by now, at this point in the seasons, you know my story, where my TED Talk coming up is on. I'm really interested because I learned this side now. Learning in different ways, we come accustomed to we only learn in one way. And after my brain injury, I was a student who would read over a piece of paper and get a B, to someone who had to read, write, type over and over and over again. So this style that you're creating, I think, is going to help a lot of people, because you're not forcing them into learning in one way that may not work for them. As you mentioned, we all learn different, so I had to just share my resonation with that because of my experiences. I think that's a great thing. Right now, at this point in your company, who is your target customer? If everyone out there is listening or watching in, this might be a good fit for you. If you are in what class?
Yeah, so we specifically design training right now. Our niche is just door-to-door solar, which that's phase 1. Phase 2 is then moving into door-to-door home security, pest control, dish, all the other stuff that you could sell door-to-door, meat, vacuums. And then eventually we're going to be expanding into different types of industries, health insurance, car sales, that type of stuff.
I love the ambition. I wish you nothing but complete success. And before I find out your contact info, where we can find them online, if you could choose any entrepreneur here, Greg, dead or alive throughout history, to pick their brain, who would you choose?
Without a doubt, Alex Hormozy.
Let's talk about it.
I am a huge Alex Hormozy fan. Davis and I essentially have built our platform and everything around the concepts that he teaches in his books.
All right, well, let's delve deeper. Where would that meeting go down if
Awesome.
you pick that too?
So I would actually fly out to Vegas. I'd want him to feel comfortable on his own turf. And then I'd want to meet with him and Layla, his wife. So.
And I always appreciate when guests share that part of things where we want them to be comfortable on their turf. If they're relaxed, they're probably going to be giving you these golden nuggets throughout the way. But I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. Where can we find you online, social media, website, email?
Awesome. You can check us out at combatsales.com, so www.combatsales.com. There you'll be able to book a demo with our platform where we'll actually be able to show you everything. But you could reach me at greg@combatsales.com, or, essentially just find us on the platform. All of our contact information is there.
All right, everyone, be sure to go check out all of his great content, all of the value he has to offer. We are at That Entrepreneur Show on all social media. I am at Vincent A. Lancy on all social media and YouTube. Be sure to head to YouTube and subscribe to me there to catch some video previews from this show and the entire Incubator program. It's been a joy to record, get to know everybody even that much more. Thanks again for taking the time.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, brother.